Tonight, we travel to the Rann of Kutch, the westernmost point of India, a plain, marshy land that stretches from the mainland in Gujarat all the way to India's international border with Pakistan. But apart from its interesting placement, the most intriguing part about the Rann is its color. The marshy land is like none other because it is just a vast expanse of white sands that spread over 7,500 square kilometers. Good evening. I am Carrie Edwards, and welcome to tonight's story. This travel story is written by Janvi Saraf and is designed to help you drift off into a deep slumber to the magnificent sights and sounds of the travel. Sit down or lie down. Go on. I'll wait to start the story. Feel free to press pause now if you need more time. The story captures the imagination with its beauty, and as it progresses, you will feel like you are falling asleep. And at that time, let yourself drift off. You can always come back again and hear more of it. Some elements in these stories are based on folklore and hearsay, so pardon the tale if it strays away from veracity. Now that you're comfortable and snug, we begin our travels. The trip to the Rann of Kutch is a long, scenic one. The travelogue you picked up at the Bhuj airport while you were on your way to the resort specifies that the best kinds of clothing for this season are flowy cotton clothes. And you were in luck, because the cotton in Bhuj is the softest, most breathable fabric for a summer's evening. The morning farmers' markets are a sight to behold, but that is for tomorrow. Right now, you're heading to the Rann. You're traveling in a robust, all-terrain vehicle that can stand the heat of the desert roads, the sands of the Rann, and the salts of the desert. As you begin to drive, the air is clear. Inhale the aroma of a rural settlement in India. You detect the slight smell of dried hay, and that of a scorched earth now beginning to cool down as the sun has begun its westward journey. Many believe that the salt plains of the Rann of Kutch are an inaccessible place for various reasons, like its proximity to the international border India shares with Pakistan, or that it is a marshy land that is not approachable by road. The truth is that the Rann is truly a gem of the Gujarat coastline, and only those who really wish to see it can get there. But these are urban legends. As you make your way through the lanes of Bhuj to get to the outskirts of the city, you realize that life here is very simple. Largely an agricultural and business-driven economy. The city of Bhuj has always been home to resilient yet kind-hearted people. The name Bhuj comes from the nearby Bhujia mountain that lies just outside the city. In fact, the name is a derivative of the mountain's name itself. Bhuj has always been the first line of defense for many centuries. It is the first settlement that the armies would encounter as they entered the Indian subcontinent and crossed the Rann of Kutch. It has been attacked numerous times by foreign forces and has borne the brunt of so many natural disasters. But it stands tall, always. You wonder about the name, Rann, believed to be derived from the word Irin, which possibly means water source. It also bears great similarity to the word Rann in Hindi, which means war. It wouldn't be a far-fetched thought that the Rann of Kutch could be called a battleground, because the land is barren and the only sources of livelihood are perhaps agriculture and cattle rearing. It has been attacked so many times, and life here is a fight every day. But the Rann is a stunningly beautiful land that shines with all its glory under a full moon. As you leave Bhuj behind, the true nature of the Kutchi terrain reveals itself. The journey from Bhuj to the Rann of Kutch is about 100 kilometers, and the road is scenic. The sides of the road are lined with desert plants that can survive even on a month's rainfall throughout the year. There are overhead power lines that remind you of the simpler life. The power grid runs up until one of the villages and further. The rural settlements are not electrified. On the long road, you meet travelers and traders going back home. The camel-drawn carts are the only feasible transport for the locals. A lot of people prefer to walk a short distance to the Rann just to be able to enjoy its beauty more. The evening sun has begun to paint the horizon orange and lighter shades of red. Inhale deeply and sense the briny smell of the sea that fills your senses and welcomes you here. You are now approaching Tordo, hailed as the gate of the Rann. But just before you do, a giant white board reads out that you are crossing the Tropic of Cancer. And most areas across the world that have the Tropic of Cancer passing through them are dry and arid. Many Greek legends speak of the Tropic of Cancer. Indian texts outline the story of Uttarayana, a geographical phenomena of the perceived motion of the earth. Such sophisticated science that existed thousands of years ago makes one think of the true magnanimity of this world we live in. The Rann is not the only salt desert in the world. Much like the Rann, there are the salt plains of Salar de Uyuni, the largest salt desert in the world. Located in Bolivia, the salt flats, when filled with water, act like a gigantic mirror that reflects the sky during the day and the stars during the night. It instantly captures the imagination when one thinks of standing on these salt flats. The experience in the Rann is equally enticing and awesome. The Rann begins to dry up in October and become a desolate, surreal 7,000 kilometers stretch that is washed away with only white color. The settlements, though, are eclectically colorful. As you look out from the window of your car, you start to see why the Rann may be as fascinating as they say it is. The full moon is just beginning to rise from the east, and it looks like a sky lantern that guides your path. The sun setting in the west and the moon rising in the east is a phenomena that is rarely visible this clearly. Many tourists prefer to travel to the Rann on their two-wheelers since the roads are easier to navigate. You notice that the smell of the sea is getting stronger, and you know your arrival at the Rann is imminent. It's difficult to see the Rann in the evening, since the visibility becomes low because of the absence of electrification. But there is no worry tonight. The full moon in the sky begins to reflect off of the white crystalline salt far off in the distance, and it seems like the day just got longer. The reflection of the sun rays of the setting sun and the moonbeams of the rising moon have made the desert look like a mirage, harsh yet stunning. The desert is beautifully contrasted with the azure sky that seems like a canvas of colors. A few more camels pass your vehicle as you draw closer to the white desert. And this time, the camels are dressed in colorful cloth. The saddle of the camel is studded with a few hundred pieces of mirrors, which are woven into a thread of every color possible. The oranges and the deep blues, the reds and the contrasting greens, and the golds with the blacks are just breathtaking. It's only when you see the colors do you realize that your eyes are looking for this respite from the browns and the whites of the Kutchi terrain. Your eyes, having been refreshed with the sight of colors, are ready to now finally behold the desert. The Rann is situated in the Thar Desert, the 9th largest desert in the world. Traditionally home to the Agaryas, or the salt farmers, the Rann of Kutch is generally flooded with seawater from April until October. The salubrious westerly winds flow in from the Kutchi area and move into the Indian subcontinent after they cross the Rann of Kutch, but not before showering the desert with a blissful rain. The rainwater accumulates under the sand, and the salt of the earth dissolves into this rainwater. The rains can be harsh or mild, depending on how hot the summer temperatures can get. The desert heats up gradually and cools down gradually as well. At the opportune moment that a rain cloud crosses over the Rann of Kutch, over the scorching earth, the rainfall may be a respite for the residents of the Rann. At the time in October when rainfall almost stops, the soil is dug up and left to dry in mounds which are rich in salt. These mounds are then cleaned, processed, and the salt is used for various purposes like cooking, cleaning, etc. As you look out, you spot the salt pans on either side and wonder about the journey of this salt from farm to table. Far off in the distance, as you look to the east, the faint outline of a mountain is visible. That is the Kala Dungar, or the Black Mountain, that offers a splendid view of the Rann of Kutch as a bird's eye view. 75% of India's salt production happens here in the Rann of Kutch. The village is famous for its Pakistani hand block painting art called Ajrak. It is the art of coloring and painting pure cotton fabric with vegetable and organic colors. Ajrak uses deep reds, blues, and blacks, colors that are easily extractable from natural sources. It is so ironic that the brightest of colors come from the whitest of places. Your driver informs you that you are now entering the last rural settlement before the desert starts. The homes in the village have white walls, but are painted in different colors with intricate designs. You cross the tiny rural settlement and drive closer to see the vast expanse of white sand beckoning your arrival. You get out from the vehicle and look at the time on your watch. It's late in the evening, but it doesn't look like it's dark. The sky still has the streaks of yellow from the retreating sun, but just faint ones. The moon is shining brightly and in all its glory. At first, the white looks like sand, but as you walk along the entrance pier, you notice that the sands are shining. That's when you completely comprehend that the sands are actually crystals of salt. Each crystal of sand reflects the moonlight, and the facets of the crystal shine with a soothing glow. It is like walking through millions and millions of tiny diamonds. Your sturdy shoes begin to get caked with these salt crystals and the marshy mud beneath them. Vehicles are not allowed after a certain point in the Rann for various reasons. The marshland can support the weight of humans, but not the weight of heavy vehicles, since after a point it is just mud and water. You pick up a few salt crystals and examine them closely. They are nothing like you have ever seen before. The smell is magnificently briny, and they look like clear, faceted crystals. And to think of it, each particle may have taken a few months to form, at least. You look at the distance, and there is only the vast, white expanse of salty sand. Your mind fools you into thinking that if you walk closer to the horizon, you may spot something. You walk on the salty crystals as your soles fall on the sand. You hear the crunch of each of the steps, which is strangely soothing. A few more steps, and a few more steps, you say to yourself. But there is nothing in sight. There's nothing that you can hear either. Apart from the occasional sound of a camel's bellow, the sound of the bells around its neck and feet, the wind keeps you company. You think, how can one be so brave as to live here? There is nothing here. And in that nothingness lies the last piece of the puzzle. A wondrously chaotic silence. Far away from the chaos in the world, it feels so calming to be in a field of diamonds, in the run, in the middle of nowhere. It might sound almost unbelievable to someone who hears it for the first time. The faint mountain outline you saw is slightly clearer now. The Kala Dungar is a stark contrast to the white sands of the run. There are many myths and legends about the run, one of which is the Dattatreya legend. Dattatreya is a holy reincarnation of the three gods of creation: balance and destruction. The three forces that run life on earth. Hence, Lord Dattatreya has powers that can do or undo anything on this planet. He also is the caretaker of humans. Once, as Lord Dattatreya traveled across the plains of Kutch, he rested on the Kala Dungar. He spotted a few hungry jackal puppies and didn't have anything to offer them. So he sacrificed a piece of his body as food for these animals. He felt no pain, and his body healed and regenerated itself within seconds. But from that day forward, the jackals returned to that very spot for food every day. When Lord Dattatreya left for his other duties, the human settlers built a temple there in reverence of him. And as the jackals returned every day, the humans fed them. If another legend is to be believed, then it wasn't the Lord himself, but a kind old man called Luck Guru, who fed the jackals every day. The idea of a kind man caring for the animals is heartwarming. It is not the only legend about the run. Thousands of years ago, not very far from the Rann of Kutch, was a heavenly city of Dwarka, which was believed to be the place where the gates of heaven were situated. The city was believed to be built by Lord Krishna himself, and it had all the riches in the world. It also had secrets about parallel universes and stories about these universes that would change the laws of metaphysics as we knew them. The city of Dwarka fell to ruins after an earthquake which submerged the city instantly. Of course, the inhabitants of Dwarka, also the descendants of Krishna, knew that the earthquake was coming, and so they evacuated the city beforehand. It is believed that some of these inhabitants moved to the Rann and slowly settled in the area. They are called the Ahirs. Apart from being small-scale farmers, they are also artisans and painters, qualities that they credit to their divine lineage. After the artwork you saw on your way to the Rann, it is possible that this art is a result of divine intervention. There are small communities that hail originally from the holy land of Medina. Their spiritual leader, Mai Bambi, and the army fled from their original land of residence to come to India as they tried protecting a woman in their clan from the clutches of an evil king. The king of Kutch, a Hindu, welcomed the guests from Medina, but separated them into smaller groups so that they may be safe. All her life, Mai Bambi spent in bringing together the dispersed community, and it is legend that she travels from one corner of the white sandy land to the other on a camel. Mai Bambi taught them the craft of embroidery, and the community still preserves it. Embroidery is more than just thread and fabric to them today. An embroidered cloth used by someone for life is never reused. It is always burned with the pyre or is floated away on the sea. As the wind caresses your face, you turn around to see that you have left deep footprints into the sand behind you. You begin your leisurely walk back to the podium where the vehicle is parked. You marvel at the moon's bright light. You remember the story your friend told you about the Mutwas, another eclectic community from the Kutch region who came here as refugees. The Mutwas came to Kutch from Sindh in present-day Pakistan. They asked for refuge, and the king, Desalji, could not send them away empty-handed. So as a gesture, he gave them a piece of fertile land near the present Indo-Pak border. And as a promise, the Mutwas protected the borderland since then. Even today, the Mutwas are hailed as a brave and courageous tribe. Just a few more moments in the moonlight, and you find it amusing that you are casting a shadow in the middle of the night. You smile to yourself. Your guide waves to you, signaling it is time to go back. You signal back, saying 5 more minutes, please, like a little child wanting to play some more. The geographical reasons why the Rann was formed are astonishing. As the sea water entered the soil, deposited the salt, and left the harbor, the salt kept getting deposited every few days. This formed thousands and thousands of kilometers of land, just sea salt. The Rann on a full moon night, much like today, can hypnotize a person. The Rann permeates into your being and makes space in the heart forever. You move towards your vehicle, but as you draw closer, you take off your shoes for the final few steps. The sand crystals aren't sharp. There's a slight tingling sensation on the the soles of your feet as you walk up to the concrete podium. Just before you climb on, you stand there for a second and feel the full strength of the run. Your feet lightly sink into the soil and they touch the water beneath, that layer of salt. Your tired feet that carried you inside the run and back feel blissful as the cool sand and water soothe them. The moon is now covered by clouds, and in a moment, those millions of tiny shining crystals become mere salt once again. As you absent-mindedly wash your feet under a tap nearby, you realize it is quite late in the night. You begin your journey homeward, knowing silence and peace like never before. The preparations for the Rann Utsav are underway, and you think this place is so beautiful in itself. The music from the Rann Utsav will only make it better. You remind yourself to make sure you book tickets for the festival tomorrow as you get comfortable in the back seat of the luxurious vehicle. And let your thoughts meander into the home of the white sands.